Snow fell against the glass walls of Pembroke Manor's conservatory like whispered secrets against cathedral windows. Inside this crystal palace, Dr. Alastair Pembroke tended his botanical empire with the devotion of a priest. The Yorkshire winter of 1897 had been particularly harsh, but here among his exotic blooms, warmth and life persisted. His prize creation, a hybrid rose of impossible crimson beauty, stood sentinel in the centre. Its thorns sharp as needles, its petals soft as sin. That evening, tensions simmered like the conservatory's humid air. Margaret Pembroke had returned after 3 years of bitter silence, her eyes cold as the winter beyond the glass. Thomas Hartwell, the senior apprentice, paced between the specimen tables, his jaw tight with unspoken grievances. Helena Cross clutched a small pouch, her secret theft weighing heavy. And Edwin Mills, overlooked as always, made careful notes in his worn journal, observations that no one bothered to read. Dawn broke grey and merciless. The conservatory doors stood locked from within, just as Dr. Pembroke preferred when working with his precious specimens. But when Edwin arrived for morning duties, horror greeted him through the glass. The renowned botanist lay impaled upon his own creation, his body pierced by the crimson rose's thorns. Blood pooled dark against the pristine white marble floor. The snow outside remained unbroken. No footprints led to or from the glass sanctuary. Inspector Gray arrived as snow continued its relentless fall. The conservatory remained sealed, 3 exits, all locked from the inside, keys found in the victim's pocket. Impossible, the inspector murmured, his breath fogging the glass as he studied the scene. The rosebush's thorns, each 3 inches long and sharp as daggers, had penetrated deep. Yet how does a man fall backward onto thorns? And why were there scratches on the marble floor near the victim's feet? One by one, Inspector Gray questioned the suspects in the manor's library. Margaret's alibi was her hatred itself. She'd been in London, documented by hotel registers and witnesses. Thomas claimed exhaustion had sent him to bed early, but his hands bore fresh cuts from rose thorns. Helena broke down, confessing she'd stolen rare seeds to sell, desperate for money to escape her father's debts. But Edwin Mills sat quiet as winter, offering only that he'd heard arguing voices near midnight. Returning to the conservatory, Inspector Gray discovered traces of rare alkaloid poison on the rose's thorns, but only some of them. In Dr. Pembroke's private laboratory, vials of extracted plant toxins sat in careful rows. The victim's research notes revealed his latest obsession, creating roses whose beauty masked deadly poison, a botanical weapon of sorts. Thomas's journal contained detailed sketches of the hybrid's thorn structure, noting their perfect penetration angle. Was this murder or a twisted suicide? The evidence seemed to point toward Thomas. His knowledge of the roses, his access to poisons, his obvious resentment of his master's acclaim. But something nagged at Inspector Gray's methodical mind. The scratches on the marble floor ran in the wrong direction. If Dr. Pembroke had fallen backward onto the thorns, why did the scratches suggest he'd been dragged forward? And why was Edwin Mills's notebook missing its most recent pages? Inspector Gray gathered all suspects in the conservatory as snow continued its silent witness. "One of you is a killer," he declared, his voice echoing against glass walls. Margaret stood defiant, Thomas clutched his bandaged hands, Helena wept softly. But Edwin Mills remained in shadow, unremarkable as always. "The poison was applied after death," Gray announced. "This was murder, then concealment. Someone wanted us to believe in an impossible accident." Inspector Gray's eyes found Edwin Mills in his corner shadow. "You knew about the pulley system, didn't you? The one Dr. Pembroke installed to move heavy specimen pots." Edwin's face crumbled. "He stole my research, 5 years of work on hybrid breeding. He published it under his own name. I confronted him that night and he laughed. Called me invisible, so I showed him how invisible could kill. The makeshift pulley had lifted the drugged botanist, then dropped him precisely onto the poisoned thorns. As Edwin Mills was led away in chains, the conservatory fell silent except for rain beginning to replace the snow. The crimson rose stood untouched, its beauty unmarred by the tragedy it had witnessed. Inspector Gray lingered, watching water stream down the glass walls like tears for the botanical paradise now forever stained. In seeking recognition for his invisible contributions, Edwin had ensured he would never be forgotten or forgiven. The glass garden kept its secret still, but death had found its way inside.